Hello again everybody, Sebastian Keynes here with another Watch Your Realms video. Here we are in the test server. We are testing Ingrid to see what she actually is bringing to the table as she is being introduced to the game this weekend. She is a lord for the Watchguard faction, and as a sweetener, she is also an arborer. So you can team her up with your arborers if you have them in your account. Let's briefly talk about her skills. Now, one of the things that you're going to learn about here is that she's going to be able to fight in two different modes. The first one is going to be a solar mode. And so when she launches 4 basic attacks, then the next basic attack turns into a solar flare when she is in the solar mode. Now, what does the solar flare do? It does AoE damage, 320%, up to 15 enemies within her target area. You can switch her over to the stellar mode. All right, and if you did do this, her 5th attack, her basic attack, turns a star shower, and now that deals 50% damage to one enemy in range 12 times. So you can turn her from an AoE damage dealer, where she's attacking multiple enemies, to just focusing to one enemy. Okay, her ultimate is essentially a manual, but her ultimate, it just allow you to dictate which mode you want her in. You want her in the solar mode or you want her into the stellar mode. That's all you're doing here. And in terms of leveling the skill up, I don't see it as necessary. So if you do not hit this when you're leveling them, you'll be fine. Let's talk about her passive though, because this is where things really get developed in terms of how all of this functions within her kit. So if she's in the solar flare and she triggers it, she then gets a solar energy. If she's in the star, she triggers a star shower, she then gets a stellar energy point. And you can kind of tell this by her modes. You'll see them during the gameplay that I'm going to show you. But if she is in her solar mode, she's kind of in the yellowish kind of aura, so you'll see these little flares kind of build up on her. And then if she is in the stellar mode, she'll turn to this purple aura, so then you'll see these purple star showers also accumulating. So then each energy point accumulates, and each one of these then leads to an increased damage by 5%. Now when you have 5 build up, so you reach 5, you will either trigger Solar Overlord if you're in the solar mode, or you're going to trigger Stellar Overlord when you're in the stellar mode. Now what do these do? Well, for the solar mode, you're going to reduce your attack interval. Your attack speed is increasing, so you're going to be hitting more often. If you're in the Stellar Overlord, and this is the one that really intrigued me, is you're going to increase your attack by 30%. And then if you skill this, you can actually then increase the attack by 20% more. And of course, it's the bottom two. But this becomes really, really powerful when you're dealing with a single target. All right, what else is she offering? Wow, we're not over there. So her solar flare deals an extra true damage. She's dealing true damage now to each one of these solar flares, equal to 100% of the hero's attack. You can then even skill this up even more. You can add 50% to that 150%. If you're in the stellar mode, what does she do? Well, if the Celestial Wrath passive will then, with every star shower, has a chance to apply a burning and radiant erosion. Each one of these says is 25% for each one. But again, you can skill that up to 35%. Give you more of a chance. Her basics is, it all depends on whether you're in the solar mode or you're in the stellar mode. So solar mode, you're dealing AoE damage. In a stellar mode, you are dealing damage 2 times to 1 enemy. And of course, you can then skill that up even further. So for each one of these basic attacks. And she also has a passive where she gets increased damage in the arena by 15%. Now let's talk about her awakenings, and this will actually make her even stronger. In her first one, she will, if she's in the stellar mode, she will actually deal additional damage to those targets that have radiant erosion applied to them. And she also receives 20% less damage from the targets inflicted with that radiant erosion. You can just think right away, the stellar mode is going to be fantastic for boss battles. Her second awakening will increase faction team members' attack by 5%. She will also gain attack to her base. Her third awakening is during the Solar Overlord and the Stellar Overlord. It will also reduce the number of basic attack requires by the talent by 1. You get increased penetration with her fourth awakening, and in the fifth one, her Solar Flare will ignore 25% magic resistance. So that kind of is the overview of her kit. Now let me show you for this showcase exactly how I decided to build her a little bit. She doesn't really need rage regeneration in her build. I just happen to have some of that stat in this build. Now, please do remember that in the test server, my Hyperion is at level 0. So we're going to be working with the stats that we see here. So I have about 22,000 HP, 22,000 attack. We have 436 speed, 108.5 critical rate, 315 critical damage. And like I said, rage regen is not really that essential because you are dictating which mode you want her in. Now, one of the things I would suggest is just to leave her in 1 because you want her to build her talent. And if you continuously switch her, you're going to lose a lot of damage. All right, so artifact, Tier Twilight. I mean, come on, that's the best one for mages. So this is the one that we are going to try out. Now, for this particular video, I am going to focus on the guild bosses because that is one area that I found her that she is going to be a very strong character. Okay, so here we are in Drake's Chasm. So one of the first things that I wanted to do is I just wanted to come into the normal mode, and I'm just gonna have her go herself just to see how much damage she can do to this particular boss. So I'm just going to place her in the tile very to the top. I'm not going to invig her. I'm just going to let her stay in her solar mode. And I just wanted to see overall, if we just left her as she is, how much damage she can actually do by herself against this particular boss. So the first hint that I got, it was, as I'm fast forwarding here a little bit. Sorry, I just want to show you here at the end. After I just had her do her basic and the Overlord kicked in, she did 3,685 blood. So we then went ahead and redid it again. Now this time though, I'm going to activate her ultimate once to get her into the stellar mode and then look to see how much damage she then can do during the course of battle. All right, so there she goes. And the boss is going to have some fun, but she's breaking the shields just fine, no problem. She does, I think she almost died on me, but she was able to complete the battle. And here is the first indication we have differences between the two modes. And in this one here, we definitely got a little bit more blood out of her being in the stellar modes. Okay, so now we are here in Nightmare 4. I'm thinking, okay, we saw kind of the base at the earlier level. Let's see if that applies to a higher level. So I went to Nightmare 4 here. I set up a composition. I brought in some armorers, and then I brought other members from the watch guards. Alistair is going to be a watch guard. And for this example, I'm bringing in Laia, so she gets the healing. Of course, when these heroes get healed, they then amplify their damage. So that's a benefit as well. And of course, we can compare it to the arbor counterparts and see how it does. So here we are. I'm kind of trying to set things up here to make sure that we invig as many people as I can, and also bring enough heroes so I can break the Tur shield. So we don't have to repeat this over and over again. So this is just the first set of this clip. So now I'm just going to let it run here, and I'm going to fast forward a little bit just to kind of give you a sense on how the battle went. Not trying to go too fast. So you can kind of see me here, just kind of swapping things out, make sure that I'm getting as many of the ultimates as I can from everybody. But of course, I never touched Ingrid. I just left her there in her solar mode. And you can kind of tell because of the orbs that are building around her. They remain yellowish, orange. So never does change. So here we go. She does the true damage when she gets into overload. All right, so here's the completion. 34,000 blood, but that wasn't bad for that composition right there. And now when I look at her damage in this mode, she did about 46,000, which is decent. Now in comparison to Jira and Perius, they didn't do as well. And then you can see Talon and Alistar right behind them. Now, all right, so now let's fast forward a little bit. Now we're going to redo this again, but this time you're going to see me activate the ult at least once, because what I want to do is switch her over to her stellar mode and now take advantage of her stellar overload. Because in that setting there, she does get an additional 50% attack when we do that. So here is where you see me change. So you see that big light come on. Now everything has changed. Now she's in her stellar mode, and you can tell that because she gets this purple hue around her, and these little orbs now build up. The stellar build up, and they turn purple. So that's how you can tell which mode she is in. Now I'm going to fast forward this a little bit just to kind of give you a little bit of a general idea. The battle how it's going. Same thing as I did before. I try not to change too much. And at the end here, now remember the other thing about stellar mode 2 is that there are two things that are going on additionally to that are brought because of her kit. Is one, she now is also applying radiant erosion, and two, she is applying burning. So she's bringing that part of her kit now into the battle, especially against Drake's Chasm here. So I'm going to fast forward here. Let's get to the end. We're about 3 seconds. Now there it is, the end. Now you can tell we got a little bit more blood. Now is that because Prettius did more damage, or did Alistar do more damage for some reason? And when I went and checked the damage card, sure enough, we get more damage out of Ingrid when she in her stellar mode, which is what we expected. So the fact that changes from AoE damage to single target, now she's really focused. The multipliers increased a little bit. She's bringing radiant erosion in. She's bringing burning in, and she gains attack. That's the mode that you want for this particular battle here. So she definitely does well when she enters her stellar mode. And so if you get her, you want to bring her into these battles, you want to focus on that stellar mode. Now here in this example here, I am going to bring her into Semrah. So again, Arborist, I'm bringing in as many of these as possible. Now, I wouldn't copy this theme. This is just me playing around with the hero, testing things out, see if I can prolong the battle as much as I can, because I do want to get an exact measure how she does against somebody like Jira or Prettius or Talon or Alistar, right? Now, for this example here, though, I am going to apologize up front because I happened to grab Prettius that was awakened 3 times. So he'll do a little bit more damage as expected, right? Instead of the base Prettius that I had. So, but either way, everybody's A0. My Volca is A5 though. That's one difference. Constant was A0 in this. Now, that's, I mean, I guess it might play a little bit of a factor in terms of how much damage we do overall and how much we can sustain. But overall, I just wanted to see how long I can drag this battle out and then look to see how much damage Ingrid does, especially when I put her into her stellar mode. So you see me here. I just wanted to show this part here where I do put her into this to the mode. She turns purple, and now everything that she's going to be building is all these stellars. They're going to come up, and now she's going to be doing the single target damage, and she will be gaining attack when she goes into overload. I'm going to speed this thing up a little bit here so you can see this, but one of the things that I decided to do once I started getting to the rhythm with the ultimates is that I clicked on the statistics here, so then you can kind of get a general sense of how much damage is being done by each one of the heroes as the modes are switching. And I'm just going to let this play out, and then we can talk about the end and the end results, and kind of talk about how Ingrid can do in this content here, and if she's going to be useful to battle Semrah. Now, the other thing that I wanted to finish with is I want to copy this roster because I was actually toying around, and I was toying around with the fact that I wanted to make Volka the tank for this particular battle. But as you're going to notice, what happened was that when Jira's ultimate activated, I think her HP just went off scale and surpassed Volka. So you'll see her take the slams instead. Now, she did survive long enough for me to do the test, and eventually she dies. I do bring her back into the battle. But Volka was the one that I wanted to make a tank here for this example. Now, we were not going for world records. Please do remember that. We just wanted to get a feel of how much damage Ingrid could do through the course of the battle. Okay, so once I realized here that she had died, I decided to stop the battle, and then just said, okay, before I start inflating numbers a little bit too much, let's just go ahead and look at the damage card, quit the battle, and then look at the damage card. And what I found was that Ingrid did a phenomenal job in terms of doing damage to Semrah in her stellar mode, given that she's applying radiant erosion, she's applying burning, and you know, she gets increased attack as well. So she is going to do a phenomenal job in this guild bosses. I would not hesitate her in using her in here. And as more watch guards come into play, hopefully DPSs, you can team her up with her, and she will do a phenomenal job in carrying these battles. In summary, I believe Ingrid is going to be a phenomenal hero to fight the guild bosses, both the Chasm and Semrah. All you have to do is make sure you put her in stellar mode. That is the attributes that she is going to gain to be able to get more damage output in those particular battles, those extended battles. So you'll have the radiant erosion, you'll have the burning, and of course, if you skill her up fully, you will get a 50% increase in attack. All of them very, very integral for those battles. If you decide to summon for her, I wish you the best of luck. I think it'll be worth it. Don't hesitate in using her in this area of the game. And for her other mode, the solar mode, that will have applicability in other content of the game, whether it's already in it or is coming in the future. Thank you all very much for tuning and watching. Please do remember to hit like and subscribe on your way out if you did appreciate the content of this video, and I will see you all in the next Watch Our Realms video.